Hello, I am Sofia Cavaco from the new University of Lisbon, and along with Tiago Viana, we are presenting the Biovisual Speech series game with voice exercises for people with Parkinson's disease with hypokinetic dysarthria. This work is part of the Biovisual Speech project, in which we develop tools for speech and language therapy. This project is funded by the Fundação para a Ciência e Tecnologia through the Carnegie Mellon Portugal program. The ability to communicate with others is important to maintain a good quality of life. When we speak, it is important that others can perceive and hear our speech well. People with Parkinson's disease can have hypokinetic dysarthria, a voice disorder that affects speech intelligibility. This can affect the loudness of the speech, so people with Parkinson's disease often speak very softly, very low, making it difficult for others to hear what they say. They can have difficulty on articulating words, making it difficult for others to understand what they say. They can have a monotonous speech, and they can have a hoarse voice or a gasping voice. These speech changes affect the social, professional, and mental life of people with Parkinson's disease. It can be frustrating for them, and it can have an impact on the person's quality of life at several levels. So, it is important that people with the hypokinetic dysarthria attend speech and language therapy in order to learn how to control their voice. So, usually they speak very softly, with a very low intensity, and it is important that they know how to control their voice loudness. It is important that they start speaking louder so that other people can hear what they say. So during the therapy sessions, pathologists usually ask them to speak as loud as they can. In order to have improvements in their voice quality, it is important that apart from going, or in addition to going to the speech and language therapy sessions, people also practice the speech exercises at home. So it is important they practice their exercises daily. But one aspect that must be taken into account, which is a problem when they are practicing at home, is feedback. While during the therapy sessions, with the presence of a pathologist, people can have immediate feedback on their vocal performance. When they are at home, it is difficult for them to understand if they are doing the exercises correctly. In order to surpass this limitation and making it possible for people to practice the exercises daily at home, while understanding if they are performing the exercises correctly, we propose to combine the exercises with technology, feedback, and fun. So we propose a tool that can be used at home to practice the speech and language therapy exercises for hypokinetic dysarthria. The proposed tool consists of a serious game for people with Parkinson's disease that integrates speech exercises for hypokinetic dysarthria. These exercises are already being used in speech and language therapy sessions. So here, we are not making up new exercises. We use gamification techniques to make these exercises look like computer games. The game is available for computer and mobile devices, so in this way we try to make the game available to a larger population. In order to design the game, we interviewed speech and language pathologists specialized in working with people with Parkinson's disease. And the game is controlled by the person's voice. So, in order to progress in the game, people have to perform the speech exercises. If the person performs the speech exercise correctly, the person will progress. The game makes a progress. Otherwise, the game doesn't make a progress. That is, it doesn't progress towards the target. So, the game performs sound analysis of several voice parameters in order to decide if it will make a progress or not. The game is customizable, So speech and language pathologists can choose several parameters, they can set several parameters in order to adjust the difficulty level, etc., to the person's specific needs. The game gives visual feedback about the vocal performance. So, when the person is playing, when the person is performing the speech exercises, the person will have feedback on the voice, on the vocal performance through visual features in the game. And this is given in an intuitive way, so that it is easy to understand if the exercise is being performed correctly. The game also includes motivational features to try to make people enjoy the time they spend performing the speech exercises and motivate them on doing them often. In this way, we want to contribute to successful home practicing time. The motivational features include several scenarios, several characters, and different outfits. Some scenarios and characters can be chosen right at the start of the game, while the remaining can be won as rewards after certain goals of training are achieved. Also, it includes notifications, reminders. So, to avoid that people forget about the exercises, some notifications appear on the phone if this is installed in the person's phone. Some notifications appear to remind the person on playing the game. The game also includes information for the speech and language pathologists about the patient's vocal performance on the exercises. So, like the example in here in this image, where we show the intensity performance on the exercises over 4 days of training. The goal of this feature is to help the speech and language pathologist understand the progress of the patient and help him or her plan future sessions. As mentioned before, the game includes three speech and language exercises that are already being used in speech and language therapy sessions for people with hypokinetic dysarthria. These are the sustained vowel exercise, the functional phrases exercise, and the sustained vowel with frequency variations exercise. We will explain these exercises in more detail in the following slides. Now, before speaking about the speech exercises and how they are gamified, let us talk about the game goal. So, the game consists of having a character walk through the scenario and reach a surprise box. To make this character move towards the box, the person has to make the speech to perform the speech exercise and has to perform the speech exercise correctly. So if the person performs the speech exercise correctly, the character will walk towards the box, the surprise box. Otherwise, it won't go towards the box. Now, before speaking about the speech exercises and how they are gamified, let us talk about the game goal. So, the game consists of having a character walk through the scenario and reach a surprise box. To make this character move towards the box, the person has to make the speech to perform the speech exercise and has to perform the speech exercise correctly. So if the person performs the speech exercise correctly, the character will walk towards the box, the surprise box. Otherwise, it won't go towards the box. Sustained vowel exercise consists of saying a vowel for a certain amount of time and with a certain intensity. So, these exercises measures vocal intensity and phonation time. It is used to treat several disorders, several speech and language disorders, including hypokinetic dysarthria. When it is used for hypokinetic dysarthria, the pathologist asks the person to use the maximum intensity the person can and also the maximum phonation time the person is able to. how does the game integrate this exercise? So the game integrates the sustained vowel exercise by having the character move towards the box when the person is saying a vowel with a certain intensity. And in this case, it is saying a vowel, performing the exercise with an intensity higher than a certain level that is chosen by the speech and language pathologist. So in this way, the pathologist can adjust the exercise to the needs of each patient. The movement of the character gives visual feedback to the patient about his vocal performance. So, for instance, if the person sees that the character is moving towards the box, the person understands that he or she is doing the exercise correctly, that he is using an appropriate vocal intensity. But if the character stops, the person understands that he has to or she has to try harder and speak louder in order to make the character move again. Apart from choosing the minimum intensity level in this exercise, the speech and language pathologist can also choose another parameter, the minimum phonation time. While the goal in this exercise is to have the patient say the vowel for as long as he can, we use this minimum phonation time to determine what length of time is enough. So in the game, we use this phonation time to determine the initial distance between the character and the surprise box. And now the patient reaches the box after saying the vowel for as long as the minimum phonation time. But since the goal is to have the patient say the vowel even longer, we allow that the patient continues saying the vowel even after reaching the box. The functional phrases exercise is similar to the previous one, but instead of saying a vowel, the person here has to read a sentence. So these sentences are chosen by the speech and language pathologist and are sentences that the patient uses in his or her daily life. The speech and language pathologist can insert different sentences for different patients, and he or she can also select which sentences are active for using in the game. The assessed parameters in this exercise are the vocal intensity. So here we are not measuring the phonation time, we are only measuring the vocal intensity. And this exercise continues for as long as the patient is talking. We are not doing speech recognition. We are not recognizing if the person is reading the correct sentence. We are just concerned about the vocal intensity. We measure only if the vocal intensity is higher than the level chosen by the speech and language pathologist. The last exercise is the sustained vowel with frequency variations exercise. Like in the first exercise, here the patient has to say a vowel, and he has to say the vowel with an intensity louder than a minimum level chosen by the speech and language pathologist. So here the game integrates that part of the exercise by having the character move towards the box when the person is saying the vowel with an intensity louder than that was chosen by the speech and language pathologist. Also, the speech and language pathologist chooses the phonation time. So again, here the box, the distance between the character and the box is set by this minimum phonation time. So the person reaches the box when he said the vowel for that long. but he can continue saying the vowel even after reaching the box. Now, the new thing in this exercise is the frequency. So in this exercise, the patient should vary the frequency of his voice. So there he can increase or decrease the frequency of his voice. The frequency interval for this variation again is chosen by the speech and language pathologist. So in this way, the pathologist can adjust the game, the exercise, to each patient. The visual feedback about the pitch performance, about the variations in the voice of the person are given by the movement of the bird that is flying above the character's head. And this bird is only used in this exercise. So the bird flies up when the voice frequency is increasing, and it flies down when the voice frequency is decreasing. So in this way, the person can understand what is happening, what are the pitch changes in his voice. The main results were that they felt the game could motivate the patients during the therapy sessions and also to practice the exercises at home. They also felt the game could contribute to help on reaching improvements on vocal performance. The pathologists were very interested in the game, and actually they were interested in using the game during their therapy sessions. Some pathologists also suggested that the game was also useful to be used with other patients with other pathologies. Since this work was finished during the lockdown from COVID-19, we were not able to test it, to validate it with people with Parkinson's disease. So instead of that, we validated through questionnaires with speech and language pathologists. So we had Zoom meetings with 6 speech and language pathologists. They tested the game in their devices and then answered a questionnaire. To conclude, we have proposed a game for people with Parkinson's disease with hypocinetic dysarthria. This game integrates 3 speech exercises already used in speech and language therapy: the sustained vowel exercise, the functional phrases exercise, and the sustained vowel with frequency variations exercise. The game is controlled by the patient's voice, so it performs analysis of the vocal parameters and gives visual feedback about the vocal performance of the patient. So the movement of the characters gives a visual feedback in an intuitive way, so that the patient understands if he is performing the exercises correctly. The game is customizable so that the speech and language pathologist can adjust the game to the needs of each patient. And we have performed a validation with 6 speech and language pathologists.